think I get it now. It's kind of like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Is it going to be fireballs? Is it going to be lightning? Huh? Could be shit. Could be a frisbee hat.
What is up, fellow movie fans? Welcome to Reel, your home for an ever-evolving discussion of film in all of its forms. I'm KP.
And I'm the Mayor. And today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're actually going to be talking about a new release. We watched Mortal Kombat, a film that we were excited for, a little hesitant on, but I'm excited to see more big-budget video game movies to come out.
You can't not talk about the new one without talking about the nostalgic wonder that is the 1995 edition that we all remember so fondly, and just, be frank about it as well as enjoyably critiquing of its qualities. Obviously, the 2021 version has been really hyped in terms of people's anticipation of a new Mortal Kombat film. And I'd say overall, for what it was meant to do, it delivered. It did exactly what it was setting out to do, which is make a very entertaining entrance into the Mortal Kombat universe, and obviously with new Mortal Kombat games kind of embodying what everyone loves about it, the brutality, the fatalities, the iconic motions, moments, and looks of all the characters. That's really what we're watching these films for, right? Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's a movie. It was fun.
It was a fun ride. As a Mortal Kombat fan, to see a video game series that's been so indelible for so long to get another shot, because in the 90s they got 2 movies and it's been talks for years, like, will they ever come back to do it? And so with the release of this new one, like, I expect the utmost gore, the utmost fan service you can possibly give me, because we know it's going to be dumb. Mortal Kombat's game lore is already really out there. It's a fighting game, so trying to add lore to it is already tough. So for the movie, I'm like, as long as you just have fun with it and you're well aware what you're doing, just give to the fans, it's going to be a good time. And that's what it is. It's a big, dumb, stupid time. I was thoroughly entertained from start to finish. They did everything that I could ask for in terms of the violence. They had a lot of great CG. The costumes look good for a more modern setting. But KP, let's talk a little bit about that story.
The big glaring issue is obviously just the use of a fictional, in this universe, character that is Cole. He's chosen by the Mortal Kombat brand that he is born with. That's really the idea of it. These people that have the brand are chosen to be defenders of their respective realms. And Cole is just this made-up character. He's not in the video games. He has no lore. He's just tacked on as a familial heir of another iconic character to just bring it about as a full circle storyline, to bring a beloved character of the franchise into the film, which is great. I mean, the payoff to the end, the finale, is solid. But the character of Cole,
kind of a waste.
Yep.
It's a weird thing because, like KP already mentioned, when it comes to the lore of Mortal Kombat, we already have enough. So before this movie came out, I'm like, okay, will it focus on Liu Kang or Kung Lao? Will it be Sonya and Jax, which all get very good screen time in the movie? But Cole just becomes just the main guy, just chosen for the tournament, and he's known for getting beat up.
I always rely on Cole Young, human punching bag.
And his power later on, that's a whole nother subject, how people are gifted powers in Mortal Kombat.
You must unlock your arcana.
That's not canon. Cole gets his, which is basically he can just take more punches. Cole never feels, in my opinion, like badass or cool. It's just a guy I'm like, okay, you're the tank. You're here to get punched, take the hit, and keep rolling with it. And it just kind of sucks because it takes away from Sonya and Jax and Liu Kang and Kung Lao, who are all big characters actually within Mortal Kombat. You want to see the beloved characters pull off their moves, have their big fights, and they all kind of get pushed to the side for this kind of cheesy family story for Cole. And it's one of those things, like, I get it. You gotta have like this story to connect to. You can't just have nonstop violence and fighting the whole time. It's the same argument with like Godzilla and King Kong. You gotta have the human stuff in there. But it's just so boring and so cheesy and just so tacked in there. I don't care about his family. There's so many times where his wife shows up. I'm like, if she dies, she dies. I just...
So be it.
So be it. I don't care, because especially when you have somebody like Haruki Sanada playing Scorpion as well. One of the best Japanese action actors ever. I'm like, I want more Scorpion. This movie should just be about Scorpion and Sub-Zero even. They're all over the posters and stuff.
Yeah. That's the anchor of the plot that seemingly is what you're obviously following, but it's definitely not the core in the middle. It's definitely the bookends of the film. It starts the story and it ends it, but everything in the middle, you're like, where are these characters? What am I supposed to care about right now? And then, oh, so we're just waiting to get to, like, by the time you get to about a third in the movie, you're like, oh, we're just getting to this point to get to there, which we all just want to get to now. get there now.
And by the time we actually get there, the movie's basically over, and this movie all feels like a setup for another movie. This feels like an hour special for an actual real Mortal Kombat movie to be set up. So it's weirdly paced too.
Yes.
So
the editing is atrocious.
It is.
Yeah.
That's putting it mildly, you know. And that's the fun thing, I think, about being film lovers that we are. We understand these things, and we look at them, but we also know, turn our brain off. Let's just enjoy ourselves for what we get. And that's why I'm happy about Mortal Kombat, because the action does fully deliver. The opening scene, the fight between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, might be the best part of the whole movie, and it delivers immensely well. Plus, they end up doing some of the most famous fatalities from Mortal Kombat, and they're just as gruesome as you can possibly ask. And that's it. That's all we're really there for, KP. That's all we really want. Well, we just want the violence, the gore, and the fun. I want some of the
Fatality.
Or get over here! And I could go home.
Thankfully, it delivers in spades in a lot of ways. There's only one single saving grace of the entire film. Once we get past the opening, and we're just like, how do we get to the end faster? God blessed us with Australians. So many great Australian actors, and there is no exception with the actor who plays Kano in this film.
Yeah, Josh Lawson absolutely holds that film on his back. He must still be hurting weeks after this film has premiered, because he carried the whole story from the beginning towards the middle and all the way actually towards the end too. Kano in Mortal Kombat as a character is kind of always the B-list character. He's been there since Mortal Kombat 1, but he's kind of like the jobber.
Yeah.
He's the can to get crushed because he's the side villain. And so Josh Lawson was able to take the character of Kano and just give so much love to this character. He's such a piece of crap. He's so funny, so detestable. And to learn that a lot of his lines were in fact ad-libbed on the spot only adds to it. Because as this film is moving at its pace of trying to set everything up, and you're kind of losing interest because there's no arms being ripped off or heads being crushed, you have this man parading around with his one eye, just yelling the worst things at these people, and doing it with every inch of his body that he can. He is without a doubt the best part of the film. Yes. One single man was able to carry that film from completely dreadful to entertaining schlock.
Looking back on the 95 film, which we want to just kind of go over real quick, it's intriguing to look at a film that is, for all intents and purposes, a kind of remake of the original, which is obviously just an adaptation, a loose one, from a video game. This is a remake. It's just returning to a franchise that we want better content from. Yes. So with that being said, yeah, looking back at the 95 film, people like to criticize us as fans of the film for liking a film that's bad. But again, like you said about the new film, it's about turning off your brain and being able to look back at a film that, you know, just broadcasts its moves. You know, the cinematography is very simple and flat. There isn't much style to anything that really goes on, and just enjoy the reference that it's trying to embody, you know, as a film that came out in 95 from a game that only had really catapulted to stardom, you know, in the early 90s. It's trying to monopolize on that fandom that's coming from a video game, and it succeeds. It does. Not only do we look back on it fondly for just being the schlock that it is, but we also look back at it fondly from a time that we can enjoy schlock like that. Making movies nowadays like the 95 Mortal Kombat, we immediately dismiss. It's just like, why would you? This is a great reference to all of the actors that used to have really great careers. Bruce Willis, I'm talking to you, that make straight to DVD garbage. We want more from them, but we find them just making just the bottom of the barrel sewage kind of film.
Yes.
So looking back at 95 Mortal Kombat, you make that movie now 26 years later, sure, we can just detest it and talk crap about it, but you look back at like the time that it was when we were trying to challenge ourselves with CG and knowing what our limitations were, and you look at that and go, we were doing something. We were trying something. And sure, you know, the reptile scene in the third act is just utter garbage, because obviously the filmmakers needed to pad the runtime, and that was absolutely an added scene. I always love watching that scene too, because when they get to Outworld, I don't think anyone ever notices it or verbalizes it, but Johnny Cage just disappears. Like, they're together, and then all of a sudden Reptile just gets up and like, I'm gonna fight you, Liu Kang, and just kicks him into another room, and then they fight in a room for like 3 or 4 minutes. Where's Johnny the whole time? He's just sitting out there. I'm gonna be out here for you, bro. So it's just that you can tell it was just shoehorned in there just to pad the runtime, and you can look at that critically and just be like, wow, this is really bad. And sure, that's the fun of watching old films like that, but at the same time, there's a lot of fun saving grace. It's interesting to rewatch that film and know that the actors who played Scorpion and Sub-Zero in the old films, they were casted as the stunt performers because they hadn't casted the characters yet. But in the end, knowing that the characters don't have any dialogue and they're masked the whole time, they just decided, hey, stunt performers, you guys are martial arts experts. Just, yeah, you're our characters. It works. All you need from them is the visual. So it's already a step forward in the new film to look at these wonderful actors and martial artists now that are embodying these iconic characters, and they already have skills physically, but also they have immense acting chops to go with it. Even if the film is kind of schlock, it's still, they're bringing that schlock and putting it on a plate for us at least, instead of just pushing it into a trough.
I used to watch it all the time as a kid, and it's always been my thing saying that there's not a lot of good video game movies. There's almost basically none. It hasn't been until the past few years with like Detective Pikachu and Sonic that we've gotten decent things. And I've always said, well, we always have 95 Mortal Kombat. We know it's not great, but for what it is, it does deliver. A lot of the action is great. It's still very corny, but a lot of the actors are really committed. The actor who played Shang Tsung, Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa, absolutely sells that character.
The embracing of the schmaltz of it is so much more commendable in the 95 version.
It's so good. You know, until this day, we talk about Mortal Kombat and people still go, your soul is mine, from the opening. You know, it's still so cool. Because he gave it his all for such a schlock fest that it is. And also, that 95 Mortal Kombat film gave us that techno intro, which is one of the greatest like movie themes ever. It's so good. And even with this new dubstep-esque remix for the 2021, it still doesn't hold a candle to the original. So it's cool to see that the 95 and the 2021 still are kind of on the same level.
They kind of marry together as like two generations of the same franchise. You can watch the old one and find something to appreciate, and then watch the new one and go, they did improve on some things. I still kind of like the old one for some of the other things. So you can watch them both and appreciate little elements of both of them, thinking of them as a hybrid interpretation of one franchise. It's kind of nice that way.
Yeah, that's why I'm so happy as a Mortal Kombat fan that at least I got two versions of schlock that we can go back to. Not many video game series or franchises have anything, so I get two. And we won't talk about Mortal Kombat Annihilation, because that's a dumpster fire of a film. That is an abomination. Doesn't exist in my mind. So I got 95 in 2021, baby. That's all I really need. But I'm happy right now with 2021's film lineup. We've gotten some fun movies to start the year. And I'm happy that Mortal Kombat at least gave me this great entertainment, a great happy time to kind of keep us going forward until all the bigger step towards the meat of the year, the middle and the end, especially for Oscar season.
Agreed.
Thank you, Mortal Kombat. You're going to be remembered for the rest of my life for this moment. That's very bizarre to say out loud. If you guys have seen it, let us know in the comments down below. Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Are you hoping they are actually going to make a whole series of this? Apparently they have 4 lined up. Don't know if that's going to deliver or not, but let us know down below in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
Other than that, guys, we miss you. We look forward to seeing you all, maybe in person, maybe in future videos. Take care, and adios. I'll do that again.
Thanks again for coming, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Take care. Bye.